Hello, welcome to Solo Strategic Playthroughs. My name is Jeff, and I am back. It has been a minute since I recorded my last video, actually more than a minute, over a month. It was a very busy month of May, but I do have some opportunities now to get back to playing, recording, so I'm going to be picking up where I left off with my Gloomhaven 2nd Edition campaign. Yeah, a lot of choices as where to go forward, so we'll get into that. Lots happened since then. I got a shout out from the Gloomhaven newsletter, Spotlight. Thank you very much for that. Welcome anyone to the channel. If this happens to be the first video you jumped in instead of episode 1, cool. But let us get right into the campaign. So picking up with the city phase that should have taken place after the last scenario. So when last we left off, the Gloomaniacs, now adding Nilsa into the mix, we're checking out the demonic rift for the city guard. We took care of that problem, and now time to regroup. There are going to be a couple of level ups, but of course first a city event. Before we could even get into our other downtime, I took another job having to do with fumigating some bugs. That was only a temporary solution. We have to figure out what to do with those bugs. A couple of interesting options, including eating them, which I guess maybe I would have done if I still had the harrower here, but I don't. So kind of looking through, I chose a different option. And again, kind of a skill check here. The end result of that was that all of my characters gained a check mark, which means I'm going to be able to get some extra perks this go around. And so now let's take a look, well, first at the overview of where we're at in the campaign. So first up, we can take a look with reputation, still at 12 with the city guard, but we've got the Gloomhaven Square open, so presumably once I do that scenario, I'll be able to move up into the higher tier. Not nearly so high with the other two factions. That's okay. I've already gone ahead. Everybody donated to the Great Oak, got a prosperity tick there. Bumped up a couple of notches on the imbuement track. No prosperity benefit or anything there, but ready to move along now and look at the individual characters. We'll start off with the veteran of the group now, Katie, the Volrath Sunkeeper, who has completed 3 of 6 of her personal quest side scenarios. Got plenty more lined up. Not going to be getting into them today, but soon enough in the future. She picked up a couple of perks, one from checkmarks and another from leveling up. So first option for the perk, I decided to give her this ability, adding a -1 to her deck, but it is going to allow her to have an ally or herself recover a level 1 card. And figure that can certainly be useful, especially with Nilsa the Berserker around, so that's the first choice. And for the second perk, and really actually I would have chosen this first if I only had to get one, is finishing what I started, which is adding a couple of extra modifiers in her deck that'll also allow her to heal. This is especially useful since she does have the perk that allows when she heals somebody who's already at max, then they get a ward on them. So should be potentially very useful. Just got to make sure she can attack and that Nilsa is not going around and killing everything. Definitely going to be pivoting a bit more, a little bit more focus on healing, but still some good attack modifiers. Definitely want to make sure I keep her going there as well. As I mentioned, she donated to the Great Oak, realizing actually useful for both her and the Elementalist in just being able to go more through the attack deck. It'd be really nice to have a summons, so who knows, maybe I save up the 75 gold needed to bring back Steely Dan. Would we name him something else? I don't know, but a ways off from that. So for Katie's level up card, I was looking at either Cautious Advance or Righteous Strength. I mean, Cautious Advance, it's pretty pedestrian. For a level 4, not a big deal, just a 4 attack. Yeah, it generates light, which is pretty good, but I haven't had a problem with that. Move 3 and shield, fine, but she's not really the frontline tank anymore. As I said, I'm kind of pivoting to healing, so I'm actually, and again, the 18 initiative, very nice, but also not a big concern for her At times, I actually want her to go later in the round, so having another high-value initiative I think will actually be useful. So I am going to take Righteous Strength, very solid healing card, which I can get an extra target in there potentially. So looking forward to putting that card to use. Next up, we've got Pinky, the Savas Elementalist, also with 2 perks, both from first set of check marks as well as the level up. Finish what I started again here, getting my last replace a -1 for the generate 1 element or the other. For the other perk, nothing else really excited me, but now that I've got all 3 of my characters looking to use various elements, more element generation, always a good thing, so I get to put in 2 copies of this wild generating card, so hopefully that will up our element game. For the level 4 card, 2 very good options for some potent attacks in Change Lightning and Burial. Here, I think I'm actually... The one thing I do like about Chain Lightning is being able to lock enemies down and curse them. That is really good synergy with the Berserker. But I think even more important is, again, both lost abilities on the top, which I'm not necessarily going to want to use early on. In terms of bottom abilities, 2 attack at this point... That's fine. Generating Dark is fine. Again, I'm pretty good with element generation. But having more healing, I think, will definitely come in handy. So, yeah, we'll just load up on that side, and I am taking Chain Lightning. Finally, we've got Nilsa Needheart, the Inox Berserker, who did manage to pick up 2 perks. Got a double check mark in the last scenario, and then the other one from the city event. So just like that, you get a perk from there. Also from achieving one of her 2 masteries. So this I decided to go with just a scratch. So some extra life, the ability to come back to life, deal some damage, and then, you know, could be in a good position to then get healed up again. Certainly going to be handy given I am going the full retribution option. Speaking of which, even though I didn't level up, I am going to be making a switch. So I didn't really know what I was doing when I was doing this class. I didn't really study the options maybe as much as I should have, but I definitely think that if you're going with a retribution build, then into the fight makes a lot more sense. Being able to pull enemies towards you and muddle them means that when they attack you, they are not going to move, so you're going to be able to do retaliate damage, and also being able to stun enemies can come in very handy. So I'm going to go with a rule a lot of DMs use in Dungeons & Dragons, which is if you take a spell or an ability and you never use it, you can replace it. And that's kind of how I'm looking at it. Yes, I know there's built in the system, you can spend X amount of gold, but I didn't use Reckless Offensive last game. I ended up losing it to damage, to prevent damage before I ever even had a chance to play it. So given that I've never used it, no harm, no foul, I am going to go ahead and house rule it and put into the fight into the mix instead. What I am going to do with Nilsa is get her a much needed Amulet of Life. And again, I know there's some really good options in terms of items that you can give her for a helm, but this one's nice and cheap. And for now, since she's got the Scepter of Zorn, which does have to poison her in order to use it, right? I realized last game the optimal use with the Scepter of Zorn is you get next to a bunch of enemies, you activate it, you poison them all, more importantly, you curse them all, then you have them all attack you. Well, that's not good if you're poisoned. I always forget about the fact that you have to poison yourself. So, and the reason I forget about it is because the last character I had, the Cthulhu class, had the Amulet of Life. So anytime I would use the Scepter of Zorn, I would just immediately heal. Now I'm going to be able to do that again with Nilsa. So now it is time to hit the road. And of course the question is, where am I going? Well, spoiler alert, not really. You already know where I'm going. It's in the title of this episode. But from my standpoint, from my thinking, at this point, I had really 3 main options I was looking at. One is to do the newly unlocked Gloomhaven Town Square. The other is to go back to the main storyline where I'd kind of halted doing some other things. Third option, which I mentioned in a previous video I was looking at, is continuing with the puzzle book. And that's actually the direction I'm going to go. Still just learning how to play these 3 characters together. So before I get into one of the really main event ones, let me try something probably a little more straightforward. I guess we'll find out. It is difficulty or complexity level 1 on this one, so I think this one probably is a bit more straightforward. Go and kill enemies. And so I am going to do the voice storyline. In order to do the puzzle book, that is, I have to explore at least some of that, and I'm pretty sure my recollection from first edition is in order to move to the end game with the Gloom, I'm going to have to resolve part of this storyline anyway, maybe. I don't know if they've changed that, but either way, it should be interesting to check that out. Of course, having hit the road, we do need to deal with a road event. We encountered an orchid cutting down trees who was not very friendly, was kind of insulting, had a few different options. As I usually do from a strategic standpoint, I took the time to kind of look at all of my traits that my characters have, and ultimately I challenged him to a logging competition, feeling like I was probably in good shape to do that. As it turned out, I could have gone a few different directions, but the end result, of course, with Nilsa, I won the logging competition. All of my characters are going to be warded and safeguarded at the start of the next scenario, so that's certainly good. And so we arrive back at the cavern where we originally heard this voice. We go a little deeper to investigate, and the voice communicates with us of a sort, tells us it has been captured, doesn't really answer any questions, but we're a group of intrepid mercenaries. This thing wants to be freed. Sure, it couldn't have been captured for a good reason. Let's help it out. I guess the motivation is less to help rescue this thing and more when enemies suddenly start appearing to just go and kill them. Slimes, dragons, they look evil, so you don't have to ask Katie twice. Certainly don't have to ask Nilsa, who is eager to destroy as much as she can. So, this scenario, again, pretty straightforward. We just have to open all the doors. It can only open one at a time, so no crazy hacks with movement. Should be pretty straightforward. So now I will go through and figure out my battle goals and what cards I'm going to bring. All right, so we'll start with Nilsa, the Berserker, who is going to be the pincushion for her battle goal. This was kind of a gimme. She wants to get hit by lots of enemies, so don't foresee that one being a problem at all. For the cards she's bringing, we'll start with her Retaliate suite, so all 4 of her cards that grant Retaliate, plus thought this would be a good opportunity to give Growing Rage a try. I have a lot of healing with my other characters, but looking at the scenario, especially this first room, you've got enemies that poison, enemies that wound, so, and I'm going to want to be attacked, so I'm going to be constantly getting poisoned and wounded, so I get this card into play, and I will then be able to heal those right up. Going through the other 4 cards, Shiny Distraction again, that is her personal goal, is about getting loot, so it makes sense to be able to do that. From the Brink, I'm mainly bringing in for the movement and being able to pull enemies towards me to help with the Retaliate. Strength and Agony, I'm definitely bringing for the movement. This is a large map, don't have a lot of good movement otherwise, so that'll help out. And of course, into the fight, we'll see if we can actually play our level 2 card this game. Next up, Katie the Valroth Sunkeeper, and had one option for her to get a double check mark, so I took that. That is the Exterminator. Seems very doable this scenario. There's only 3 different enemy types. So to that effect, I'm going to need to make sure she's able to do some attacking, so I put in every single good attack card she's got. And for the other card, I figured Sanctify, why not? I'm already starting off in a situation where all of my characters are warded, so they'll be able to get the +2 attack bonus. Not that the Berserker is necessarily going to be doing a lot of attacking, but could it come in very handy for the Elementalist. Taking a look at the other 6 cards. And this is the healing suite. There are so much healing available, so I think it'll serve the playstyle well. Hopefully I can get those Exterminator kills out of the way, or really just at some point by the scenario, but it doesn't need to be a focus. She's only got to kill 3 enemies. Then she can really just focus on healing, giving buffs, helping out. One important utility card I brought is Tactical Order. Again, a large map, being able to move people around, not to mention having the potential for a move 5 herself. I don't often end up using that card, so maybe it'll be another game where I don't use it, but I do like the possibility of being able to maneuver the Berserker into Retaliate range right off the bat. So that is it for Katie. Finally, we've got Pinky the Savas Elementalist, and just another battle goal that seemed meant to be is Ritualist. Not going to have a problem having 3 elements, strong or waning, and then just have to kill somebody with a card like Chain Lightning. Should not be too hard. I've got the Pierce against the Living Spirits, not to mention any one of these enemies that I can get low. Just well-timed, only have to be able to do that once. Should be able to do that pretty easily. For the other cards, some staples, being able, the 2 cards I have that let me grant Retaliate, as well as my 2 cards, just my catch-all, heal, and buff, along with my various spend elements to bump the attack. All right, so for the other 5 cards, just some utility here. Some big attacks, potentially, with Frigid Torrent. Elementalist always has a pretty good suite of movement. Flash of Brilliance, I like being able to get those key Retaliate cards back. Not to mention the occasional loot, which I did last game, Wild Generation. The one card I haven't tried before, Encompassing Shadow, not really looking to make people invisible, but that 12 is a very nice initiative to slot in below the 14 of the Berserker. Just gives me one other option. Not to mention that in that situation, I can move, but then also if I'm near the Berserker, make sure that the Berserker, when Nilsa has enemies attack her with her taunt, that those attacks will be a disadvantage. Okay, so having all the characters set, here's a look at the full map. I've got my characters there, not necessarily their starting positions. I'm going to figure out exactly what I want to have everyone do, then decide where I'm going to position them. Of course, I'll also be able to generate an element at the start of the round. So pretty likely that's going to be Frost. You can also see I was having a difficult time seeing Pinky on the map with the charcoal gray bottom, a lot of camouflage, so I went more thematic and colorful with the elemental wheel. Seemed appropriate. So, all that said, I am going to now go through, pick my starting cards, and get going with round 1. So, ready to go for round 1, and I'm going to apologize in advance by saying that probably most of the videos I'm doing with this group, the first turn is not going to be very creative. I think I have probably settled into a pretty good opening salvo. We'll see as I level up and get new abilities. But, yeah, so what I'm going to be doing here is I'm actually going to have the Elementals go first, and Pinky is going to be using that card I decided to add in, the invisibility, which will be very handy. I'll be able to give invisibility to the Sunkeeper, which will allow her to run up and attack something and also generate a wild element, and then not have to worry about getting attacked in return. And because of the flea-bitten shawl, it doesn't really matter where the Elementalist ends up. They will not be targeted by the enemies. They will all target the Berserker instead, who of course is going to go on 14. Gonna have 6 retaliate this turn. A little unfortunate. I wish I had some more push or pull abilities. I do have pull abilities, but they don't quite work here. Probably only initially going to be able to taunt 2 enemies, but who knows? Depending on what happens, the other ones might move up to get closer, and maybe I don't get attacked by the Elite Slime at all. The Elite Slime, which I realize I am not showing you the whole board, so you can see there are 2 enemies down here. I'm planning to have the Berserker head up towards the top 2 enemies, the Sunkeeper move in between the bottom 2. So with all that figured out, next step is, of course, to go over to X-Haven and see when the enemies are gone. All right, I've got everything lined up here, and you can see actually the one thing I'm doing, I am having Katie go on 90 because I realized the invisibility that she'll be granted goes away at the end of her turn. So since she will have started her turn with it, then let's make sure that she doesn't suddenly find herself next to a couple of enemies. Let's see when the Ooze and the Rending Drake are going and what they're doing. Hopefully before 90, and yes, perfect. So wow, Rending Drake hitting pretty hard. Unfortunately, it will take retaliate damage each time, so I think it'll actually only get one of those attacks off. And then the Ooze doing a Plasma Ward. All right, that's a little unfortunate. That's going to be pushing away, but I think I'm going to be okay because the retaliate I'm granting is going to be range retaliate. So, 2 of it anyway. Okay, and then Katie will finish things off. That said, I can go ahead and get started with the beginning of the round and the Elementalist. And of course, even before the Elementalist goes, I am able to use their perk to generate an element. So important that happens at the start of the round, so the element is available to be used on their turn. I'm, of course, going to generate Frost. And now we can go ahead, and I'll start off with Encompassing Shadow. Again, we'll go ahead, and I still haven't put the invisibility icon in, so we'll just remember that she's going to have invisibility until the end of her turn. That will also generate Dark. And then I've got some movement, and thanks to the Flea-Bitten Shawl, I don't have to worry about getting attacked. So I'm going to go ahead and just move up here. I'm pretty sure that keeps me safely out of range of the enemies. And then I'll consume the Frost to give 2 ranged Retaliate to Nilsa the Berserker, and then regenerate Frost. Next up on 14 is Nilsa. So I'm going to have her move 1, 2, 3, and that will give her 1 Retaliate. She'll gain an XP the next time she retaliates. And then might as well fire off Tireless Retribution to get 3 more. So now we're up to 6 Retaliate. All attacks will be at disadvantage. And one last bit before I go ahead and taunt my enemies for a first time. And that, of course, is to use the Scepter of Zorn. No reason to wait around. That is going to... I can target 3 enemies, so 1, 2, 3 will all be poisoned. More importantly, I have to get to put 3 curses into the deck. This will, of course, poison Nilsa, and that will be prevented by the Safeguard. And honestly, the only enemy the poison really matters on is this one, so I'm not even going to bother doing the other 2, because we're going to be killing them. So what I'm going to do is I will go ahead and use her taunt ability, which is going to allow me to have all adjacent enemies attack. And I can do this, they'll just be using their base attack. I can do this in either order, so I think since this guy poisons, I will have the Rending Drake, and the Rending Drake hits harder, and I do have my ward up, so yeah, I'll have the Drake attack first. It's actually going to be a 6 attack with wound, which is not great, but hey, we like taking damage, so here we go. It is either going to be, well, it's either going to be no damage or a poison. Yeah, we will certainly take the no damage. Of course, I am playing with the harder imbuements this time around. Pretty much be doing that every game. Take that extra challenge. Also, forgot to mention scenario level. So, again, as I've usually been doing, my characters, I'm using the first edition rules. My characters are levels 4, 4, and 3. So average level, high 3s, have just a little bit under 2, rounded up to 2. Then I'll add the +1. So I am playing at scenario difficulty level 3. Nilsa is wounded by that attack, but the Drake takes 6 damage. It's down to 4. Now I will have the Ooze attack, and that one not going to be quite so bad. So that should be a 3 attack, and just double checked, it actually does not deal poison for the non-elite, so just a straight up 3 attack is going to be, this will be a disadvantage as well, so either a +2 or a +1. It'll be a +1, so that's 4 damage, and then the ward will reduce that to 2 damage. The Ooze goes from 8 down to 2, taking 6 retaliate damage, and Nilsa will gain 2 XP from the 2 cards she played, each one triggering on one of the retaliates. Not sure of the timing of Amulet of Life here, if I wanted to heal myself. It says during your turn, but I just resolved end of turn effects. I'll just live with it, and I'll save it for the future. That said, I don't think I would use it now anyway, since I'm about to get poisoned by the Ooze, so I might as well hang on to it. I can use it in the future. Also, just remembered, yes, I am actually bringing my chainmail this game. I didn't bring it last time because I was going for a mastery, but not optional, so I do have to use that on the warded attack, which would go from 4 to 3, halved rounded down, so just 1 damage to Nilsa, though she is about to take a lot more. And actually, just one quick thing I'm going to backtrack on before I do the enemies is I do have 2 of my characters have a major element potion, both the Elementalists and the Sunkeeper. I think it's better off using the Elementalists now because that way I can set things up where the Sunkeeper uses it on on her turn, potentially setting it up so that then Pinky can take advantage. So just kind of going back to Pinky's turn doesn't really change anything. I will generate 2 more elements. It is going to be wind and fire. So just working towards that mastery of having all 6 elements active, which should happen pretty soon. That is going to do it for that. So now let's go back to where we were, which is to do the Rending Drake's turn. All right, so Unending Frenzy, the Elite is going to go first. It is going to go ahead. This will be a 5 attack, still with disadvantage. And so either a +1 and a heal itself, or a +1. So we'll do the +1. So that is going to be 6 damage. That'll be reduced to 5 from a second use of the chainmail, and it will also kill the Rending Drake, who dies from 6 more retaliate damage. And that is another notch for the Berserker's mastery goal. Of course, the other Rending Drake doesn't have any adjacent targets, so it will not attack. The one that's dead does not get to do its 2 other attacks, so now we can move on to the oozes. So the ooze is first going to use its plasma ward to push all adjacent enemies away 1 space and poison them. So that means I will have Nilsa get pushed over here, just so that she's adjacent to the Elementalist in case I want to take advantage of that. Also keep her a little bit closer to Katie. Actually, I don't think that's really going to matter. But so she'll be poisoned. It will then do a 4 attack at range 2. So, and of course, the one on the bottom does not have anybody within range 2, nobody to push, but here comes a 4 attack plus the poison, so a 5 attack and 1 more use of the chainmail if this actually deals any damage. Let's find out. Either a 0 or a 0 and a wound. So yeah, we'll take the 0. So yeah, that is 4 more damage to Nilsa, and now I guess she's where she wants to be, below half. The good news is Empowering Flame will trigger. That was what the Elementalist did. That is 2 retaliate at range 2, which is just enough to kill this guy. So that is now 8 of 20 enemies that Nilsa has killed using her retaliate. Finally, we've got Katie, who will use her 4 movement from Lay on Hands to put herself right next to both enemies, and she will take a shot at the Rending Drake. This is going to be a 4 attack. It'll generate a wild element, which is either going to be Earth or Sun. I'm going to need to generate the other one of those next turn, so probably going to be the Sun, going to be the easier one to generate. So yeah, I'll just go ahead and generate Earth, add that to the mix, and we'll go ahead, do the 4 attack. And this will actually be a 5 attack with the poison. So here we go. Just 5 damage, knocking the Drake down to 2. Bunch of ways I could go here in round 2, but I think I'm going to go for maximizing use of elements and damage. Yeah, so I'm going to have Katie going first, and plan is for her to take out the Rending Drake. Probably, yeah, she'll take out the Rending Drake. And we'll have advantage on that attack. We'll also be able to generate light before she does that, which will put all 6 elements in play, which will achieve the mastery goal for the Elementalist. Now, the Elementalist will go next on 26, and Pinky will be able to get off a nice heal. Not fully as effective. I do have all the elements available, but only going to be able to ward and safeguard the Berserker. That's good enough. Nilsa could certainly use it. And then just some movement, generate an element. And then the Berserker, actually, I was originally going to use this opportunity to maybe grab some loot to get my Retaliate heal card into play, but honestly, I don't know that I'm going to need it anytime soon with all the healing I've got. So I'm actually looking at the ability of doing 2 very potent attacks with advantage. So that's kind of where I'm looking, but let's see what the enemies are planning on doing and if I get to go first or not. Here we go with the Rending Drake and the Ooze. They are going, again, after me. Another Wounding Frenzy for the Rending Drake. The Ooze is going to split. So, yeah, I definitely think I'm going to want to take it out. So Katie's going to kick things off here, and I was thinking about pivoting and focusing fire on this guy down here, but then I remembered I do have the Exterminator battle goal. I need to kill one of each monster type. I have a good opportunity here, and if I don't kill the ooze and it splits, they'll be low health. That'll be an easy opportunity for her to kill an ooze. So that all being the case, I am going to go ahead and use Daybreak, but before I do that, I'm going to use Engulfing Radiance, mostly just to generate Sun. So now there are 6 elements. Sun and Dark are both currently strong, the other 4 are waning, but that is good enough to complete the Elementalist's mastery of having all 6 elements up. Of course, you don't complete the mastery until the end of a completed scenario, and then I would get the perk mark. But that is taken care of. Don't have to worry about that for the rest of the game. Now I will go ahead and use Daybreak. I'll consume the Dark, why not, to generate light. That'll be a 4 attack with advantage, which hopefully should be more than enough to kill the Drake, who is down to 2 health. So it's actually going to be a 5 attack with the poison, so either a +2 or a +1 and heal somebody. So yeah, actually I think since it's going to die either way, I will go ahead, take that option, and I will heal the Berserker to get rid of the poison and wound. And having killed this guy, Katie will be able to put a notch on her belt. She's now taken out a Drake. She just has to take out the other 2 enemies. She gains an XP, and that is going to do it for her turn. Now the Elementalist is up, and really the only, obviously I'm going to do Malleable Evocation, since I've got all 4 of these elements ready to be spent. Then the only question, obviously I'm going to target the Berserker. Who do I want the other target to be? I think I would actually, even though Katie's usually able to give herself advantage anyway, I think being able to put the Bless in her deck is probably more useful. I don't know that I'm going to have any enemies to attack next turn. So, yeah, that being the case, I will go ahead and target Katie and Nilsa with the evocation, consuming all 4 elements. Might as well, since they're all going away at the end of the turn. Then I'll go ahead, use Frigid Torrent just to move. I get the +1 movement because I do have a couple of strong elements. So move up here, gain some loot, and I realized just one thing I forgot to mention that I was doing on Katie's turn. Nothing really changed that, which was to play the black card, targeting the ooze. So now, as long as the ooze is in play, everybody's going to get +1 to their attacks against it, which is going to come in handy as we are now up to Nilsa's turn. Now Nilsa's up. Just quick correction. It should not be wounded. Should be safeguard and warded. Also, did get the +2 heal since the poison and wound were already gone. So now that being the case, I am going to go ahead, and again, I apologize to the Retalizerker fans. I know this flies in the face of what you want this character to be doing, but she's got a good opportunity to get off some nice attacks. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use the bottom part of Growing Rage to move 3, and then do an attack with advantage against the ooze, +1 from the black card. So this will be a 3 attack. So here we go. It is going to be a 0 or +1. So +1, that is going to be 4 damage against the 1 shield. So 3, bringing it down to 8. Then she will go ahead and gain some strength in agony. So that'll bump up the attack, a 5 attack. The card makes it a 6 attack because she is still at half health or less. So 6 attack with advantage against the 1 shield is either going to be a +1 or a -2. Take the +1, of course. So that is 7 versus the shield is 6 damage, which is going to be just enough damage to knock the ooze down to 2 health. I almost would not have minded if that happened. I guess if I really wanted to, I could take the -2. But no, there will be other opportunities to kill the ooze. I will happily let this one be knocked down and let it kill itself before it can split. As I mentioned, the ooze is up now. It is going to split, but the first thing that happens is it takes 2 damage. It's at 2 health, so that is going to kill it, knock it down to 0. It will not get a chance to split, And just like that, we have cleared off all the enemies in this area. One other thing I forgot to mention earlier is on the Elementalist turn, I did generate fire, so that's available. And then both of these elements will wane, and we can get ready for round 3 and moving into the next room. So for round 3, I could be aggressive, run in, open the door, start dealing with whatever's in there, but I feel like I'm doing pretty well. Having cleared all the enemies in 2 rounds, I do want to make sure I can grab all the loot, kind of get everyone in position, do some healing, get some effects back, or cards back, I should say. So no need to explain what I'm going to be doing. I'll just walk through it as I take the character turns. I'll start with Nilsa. I want to make sure she can get some loot. I also want her to be within range 3 of the Elementalist, so I'm just going to use From the Brink for a move 2, and then I will go ahead, shield up, loot 1 to grab a coin, and that is going to be it for her turn. Katie's up next. I will have her go ahead and do a Soothing Light. She will use the light to heal Nilsa for 3 and let her get a level 1 card back. That's going to be my trusty Move and Retaliate, Unbridled Power. So put that back into the mix, and then I'll go ahead, bottom part of the other card, Hammer Blow. I will loot 1 to grab the coin down here, as well as go ahead and take what I think is probably the last Bless and shuffle that into her deck. Finish things off with Pinky, who will use a Gravel Guard to move 2 onto the coin, then consume the fire to generate a trap. Doesn't really matter where. I don't want it. I could put it by the door, but I think I'd rather keep it out of the way. So just maybe up here off camera. It won't really matter. But then I will go ahead and use Flash of Brilliance. And of course, using the fire will regenerate the fire. I will also generate light. And I will, again, targeting Nilsa, let her get another card back. This time I'll go with Growing Rage, give myself a chance if I want to get that Healing Retaliate into play. Bounced around on a bunch of different possibilities this turn. Hard to know what's optimal when you have no idea what's on the other side of the door. So I'm just going to put everybody in a position to move in. I will have the Elementalist go first. Can use that granted movement to open the door. That'll at least allow the Berserker to be able to get pretty much anywhere in the room. Also be able to move up on their own, Pinky will. And then immediately after, since they're both going on 14, most likely, the Berserker will then be able to go, looking to get that Lost card into play, give that a try this game. I keep wanting to put up Better Retaliate. There's really no good time to do it, I guess, unless last turn probably would have been good with the downtime. But I'll do it now, and then the Sunkeeper, potentially, if need be, can have 5 movement to maneuver into the room and then attack, or 3 movement if that's enough, and then I can use the Sun on the offense instead. Kicking things off with Pinky, I might as well get a chance to see who I want to move to, where it's going to be necessary. So since I do have a couple of elements available, both fire and sun or light, I will go ahead and get 3 movement and also generate frost. And of course, that will open the door. Well, no shortage of enemies here. I don't know why. I just assumed it was only going to be this one room. Nope, I've opened up a whole big area where we've got 3 living spirits up here, and down here are 3 rending drakes. So let's see what they're going to do. All right, you can see I've got Pinky and Nilsa both going on 14. Katie, I had set for 65 because that way I might as well see what the enemies are going to do first. I would rather probably have Nilsa at the front of the line, though maybe not. But let's see what happens and what they're going to be doing. All right, so a calculated strike for the Drakes. Yikes, that is a big attack. Living spirits are not attacking anybody, just cursing. A couple of targets, 3 targets actually, within range 2. Of course, again, they will only move to get within melee range, which is actually pretty handy. So don't necessarily, depending on how I maneuver things, might only be able to get 1 target. I'll have to consider where everybody's going to end up. Katie will, of course, finish things off. So I think I can work this out pretty well, pretty advantageous. I'm certainly not worried about Nilsa taking curses because she's not meant to attack. So let's remove her up into the room with that 2 movement granted. That, of course, from magma scales. And that's it. Nothing to disarm. Don't have wind anyway. That is going to be it for Pinky's turn. Nilsa's up next, and I'm going to keep this pretty straightforward. Yeah, I think we're going to set ourselves up for a pretty crazy next turn, as I will go ahead, have Nilsa just move 1, giving herself retaliate 1, and then she will go up and throw up her growing rage. That'll give her 2 XP, and that will be it for her turn, which means now the enemies are up. We'll start with the Rending Drakes. The Elite is going to move 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Get as close as it can. And then the other guys are going to move 3. Start with the lower numbered one here. 1, 2, 3. Then this guy. 1, 2, 3. He did get in range, so he'll go ahead. It will be a 5 attack against Nilsa, who at least is going to be able to heal when she retaliates and is currently safeguarded and warded. So, let's go ahead and see what that attack is going to be. Base of 5 plus 1 is 6. That'll be halved down to 3. That'll knock her down to 6. The safeguard will prevent the wound, and then she will retaliate for 1, gain an XP, and heal 1. And actually, I think at that point, because she's down below half, she'll actually heal 2. Next up, the Living Spirits are going to be doing their Angry Howl. Since they're not attacking, again, they are going to move to get within melee range, which is oh so convenient. This guy will move first, and he will move over here. And I'll handle the curses in a moment. Just handle the movement first. The other one is going to want to get adjacent, so we'll move over here again, targeting Nilsa, because even though they're both the same distance away, same movement away, I do have the Flute and Shawl, which I'm realizing, yeah, is a really good thing to have when you're playing with a Berserker, somebody who you want to get hit. Really allows a lot of flexibility of movement. So, now all of these guys do get to curse. This one, fortunately, Katie out of range, but both of these will curse 1, 2 here, 1, 2 here. This guy will only be able to curse Nilsa. From Pinky's standpoint, they'll prevent one of those with a safeguard and take 1 curse, and Nilsa will take 3 curses, which again, not too worried about. Katie will finish off the round, and fortunately I was able to kind of maneuver things such that she only needs 3 movement, 1, 2, 3, to run into the room to get adjacent to one of the enemies that she can now attack. So I will be able to use the light to make this a 4 attack with advantage. And hey, Pierce, too. That comes in handy. And by Pierce 2, I mean Pierce as well. It is Pierce 1 against the 2 shields. So the Living Spirit has 1 shield here, 3 health, which means I just need to get a 0 to take it out. That'll help me towards my battle goal. So here we go. Either going to be a 0, good enough, or times 2, even better. Yeah, we just slaughter that Living Spirit and knock off 1 more notch on the belt of the Sunkeeper. That's going to do it for the round, as the fire goes from waning to no more. The frost is now waning, and we can get ready for round 5, where Nilsa is going to be doing a lot of damage. And I'm realizing this is a bit early, but the optimal way to take out these Living Spirits is to be able to do 3 retaliate. In order to do that, the surest fire way to do it would be to go ahead and get back one of my retaliate cards, the one I just played. So I am going to take a short rest, even though I got 3 cards in hand, and we will end up losing, not that card, so I'll spend 1 to lose that one instead. So for this round, I am going to put Nilsa's new Growing Rage to the test, as she'll certainly be taunting. We'll see where her health ends up. Should be in pretty good shape, though these drakes do hit very hard, and I'm going to be opening the door for them to be able to attack her. So, well, we'll see how it goes. I am going to have Katie go next, and she'll be able to do that with 3 retaliate. I'll have Katie go next, who'll be able to throw up a heal and also sanctify, which Pinky can then take advantage of as I decide. I can kind of see how things unfold. Probably at this point, I will be throwing out another heal and doing Shaping the Aether. The other reason I could have the Elementalists go much faster, but there's just Frost out there right now, which, again, could be useful to prevent the Drakes from moving up, but I'd rather give an opportunity, have Katie go first, and that way she can use her potion to generate a couple of elements. All right, so I forgot to advance the round tracker during my off round. I'll catch that up when I can, but for now, we are in round 5, going on 9, 39, 54, and the enemies... All right, so Living Spirits going, well, not fast enough, because they'll both be dead. And then the Rending Drakes with a Dangerous Fury on 59, but the good news is everybody else is going to have a chance to go before that, so should be in good position. We will, of course, kick things off with Nilsa. Real simple here. Nilsa is going to go ahead and numb herself to the pain, and once again do Unbridled Power. I'm realizing I really wish I had gotten a stamina potion. Probably more valuable than donating to the Great Oak in this situation, because then I wouldn't have had to take a short rest. I could have just grabbed it back, but we'll definitely do that next time. In any event, not moving anywhere. She'll stay right where she is and give herself 3 retaliate. She will then taunt and have all the adjacent enemies attack her. Now, I'm not really sure the best order here, but I think probably having the Drake attack first. It's going to be a 4 attack. She will not get the reduction now because when the attack is happening, her current hit points is 8, but it will come into play for the next 2 attacks. So, going to be a 4 attack. +1 is a 5. So that will knock her from 8 down to 3, but then, and she'll be wounded, but then, thanks to her growing rage, she will heal twice, which will put her back up to 5. And of course, the Drake will take 3 retaliate damage, knocking it from 6 down to 3. Now the Living Spirits doesn't really matter. Starting with this one is, and they're not too tough, just a 3 attack. So that's a +1, that's a 4. Now she is below half, so it'll be reduced to 3, which will knock her down to 2, but then she'll heal 2 back up to 4. That's another notch on her belt towards her mastery. And finally, the top attack, again, a 3 attack, a 0. So there we go. That is going to be reduced to a 2, so she will be knocked down to 2, but then heal 2 back, so effectively no damage that time. It's going to now be 10 of 20 towards her mastery. She'll also gain an XP for the first time she retaliated from the card she played, and that'll do it for her turn. Katie's up next, and I just realized I have not been showing you, highlighting which part of the card I'm going to play, or more accurately, darkening the side that I'm not. But there you go. Katie going to be doing Sanctify, which will generate light, and then she will be able to heal, of course, Nilsa for 3. Can't use the light, since not that it would do any good. Nobody else needs healing, although I guess with the healing she could... No, I couldn't even do the ward because Elementalist is already warded. So in any event, can't use the sun that I just generated, so just 3 healing to Nilsa. Last but not least for Katie, this seems like a good time to go for broke, so I am going to use the Major Element Potion, in this case, to generate wind, and I think I will probably get the most use out of fire. So now Pinky is going to be able to show off their new raw firepower with Chain Lightning. I am in a position to be able to get all 3 targets. This one's a little confusing. Target 3, 4 away, so I can start it off here. Then each additional target, I gain 2 more range. So 6 and then 8, as long as they're within 2 of each other. So, which I can certainly do. I can get all of them. Attack will get a little weaker with each one, but it's actually going to start out as a 4, and then the question Well, it's going to be more than that, because I have Sanctify in play. Pinky is currently warded, so it's going to be a +2 bonus. It's going to use that up, as that'll proc 3 times. So we're already looking at a 6 attack. I'm definitely going to use the Sun, which is now got it up to a 7 attack. So again, it'll be 7, 6, 5. So the question is, do I want to... if I do the attack right now, I'm almost certainly going to kill the first one. That's going to accomplish Ritualist. I'll be done with my battle goal. Might cost me an opportunity to kill the others. Yeah, the alternative is I could consume the other element as well, and +1 to both those attacks. I think I'll go with the 7, 6, 5, see how that goes. Take care of my battle goal. So let's go ahead and see how it goes. All right, first attack against the one with just 3 health is going to be a -1. Good to see that come up now. That is 6 damage. That guy's done, so bam. I have achieved the battle goal, so that's good. At least that was worthwhile. Now, this one, a little tighter. It's a 6 attack against a 7 enemy, but I did get a +1. I have a good amount of those in my deck now, so I felt a reasonably good chance, not to mention a couple of blesses. So, and I realize I am blocking the path here. As you see, I have gone 1, 2. Now the last one, just going to be a 5 attack. And unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to be able to kill it, even if I draw a bless here. But let's see, it is going to be, yeah, so just 5 damage to that one, bringing it from 11 down to 6. It's actually at 10 health. That's going to bring it down to 5. I wasn't going to be able to get it into range of killing it with Retaliate anyway, but still pretty effective. All right, now actually, before the Rending Drake goes, I am going to do something a little kooky here. I still have 4 movement from Shaping the Ether. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, hop on this loot, which is going to put Pinky in a bit of a perilous situation, as that Rending Drake is going to be able to attack, but if things work out well, it will not be able to attack. At least not Pinky. Let's see how things go. It's a pretty complicated chain of events here. Reasonable chance I might have gotten something wrong. Of course, as always, let me know if I did. But let's start with what we know for sure. Dangerous Fury, Rending Drake is moving 3. 1, 2, 3. It is going to move into a situation where it can attack multiple enemies, since it is targeting 2. Okay, now it will target its focused first with the attack, which again is going to be Nilsa, Faster Initiative, and Shaping the Aether. So this is going to be a 7 attack with wound. There are some curses in there, so that would make it really easy, but even a large attack I can withstand thanks to the new ability I just gave Nilsa. But let's see what the attack is. All right, here we go. Base 7 attack. All right, so that is going to be 7 damage to Nilsa, but yeah, actually, no, I think this did not work out the way I'd hoped. I think, actually, as a result, Pinky's going to get whacked. Yeah, I was thinking that I would trigger, I'd be able to attack, but unfortunately, just 6 damage, because there is the damage reduction of the card I have in play from the Retaliate, so going to knock Nilsa down to 1. My thinking here, of course, had been that if Nilsa had been killed by this attack, then Nilsa would then be able to use her ability immediately, and I'm pretty sure it would happen before the Retaliate, because the Retaliate says when the attack would knock you down to 0, that's when you get the extra attack in. Retaliate doesn't happen until it resolves. Again, and this is... the ability I'm talking about is this one. So my understanding is, had this attack knocked Nilsa to 0, Nilsa is instead set to 1, then gets to do the attack, then the Retaliate resolves, and at that point, that'd be enough damage, as long as I didn't draw a curse, although there are 3 of those in the deck, and for a -1 for that matter. So there's no guarantee I would have been able to kill this thing. As it turns out, the attack is just going to reduce Nilsa to 1, wound her, but then she will go ahead and heal 2 from Growing Rage. She'll also deal 3 Retaliate damage to the Drake, which, unfortunately, not dead, is now going to attack Pinky, so maybe I shouldn't have gone after that loot, but it would have been a waste to not use the move 4. Pinky will be fine. Pinky's warded. Let's see. 7 attack incoming. +1 is 8, so just 4 damage and a wound. And I will have to take that wound. That'll do it for the Drake's turn and for the round. As these wane, this goes away. And, well, I think I'm going to be having some people long rest. So hopefully Nilsa is up to the task of taking this thing out by herself. So this round, just going to have Katie and Pinky take their long rests. Katie hasn't even used her gear. Seems kind of a waste. But, yeah, might as well just kind of take my time there. In the meantime, I will have Nilsa look to finish off. Yes, I know, I'm going to attack. I could do it with Retaliate, but I don't need to waste my abilities. It's a bit of a hefty attack here. So I will go ahead and just try and kill this thing, hopefully not miss. And let's see when the enemy's going. Here we go. Drawing for the Drake. Yeah, it is going to be doing pretty rough attack on 54, so hopefully we can avoid that. With 3 curses, it is definitely a bit risky here, but I do have some backup in that if I don't kill it, then the Rending Drake will attack, and I'll get to then use that ability. I'll still stay alive, be set to 1, and then be able to attack it back. So I've really got 2 cracks at this. Hopefully I don't need 2. Let's see. This is going to be a 5 attack because I am at half health or less, and yet more XP gained. Okay, so that is going to take out the Drake, which, since I have killed it, it will drop loot. I will just hop right on there and pick up both of those pieces of loot. And yeah, that was successful. For the long rests, in the case of the Elementalist, we'll lose a hit point from the wound down to 4, then heal 2 back up to 6. Sanctify did its job, very helpful for all that extra damage. And then just a lot of cards I want to hang on to. So while I definitely like Encompassing Shadow, that is the one I'm going to let go from the Elementalist. Last but not least, I will generate Light from Katie, thanks to one of her perks, and that will be the end of round 6. I'm back, ready for round 7, and no enemies to deal with. I'm not going to rush into the next room. I'm going to take this opportunity to heal up, play some get some ability cards back, get some loot, position myself so that I am ready to go full force next turn. Going to kick things off with Nilsa, and this is going to be very unexciting. I'm just going to move down here, grab the loot, and that's it for her. One thing I didn't mention while it was happening, but I did complete Nilsa's battle goal. So she did have 3 enemies attack her in not last turn, but the turn before, so using her taunt ability. So that battle goal is done. The only thing left is Katie needs 1 more kill. She needs to take out an ooze. So hopefully, still got 3 more rooms to unlock. Should have an opportunity to do that. But in the meantime, for her turn, she's just going to move 1, 2, 3, get a bit closer to the door, and then she'll be able to use the Soothing Light to go ahead and heal Nilsa, and also Nilsa's down to 1 card, so this will let me get 1 back. That'll give Katie an XP, and then Nilsa will get back Unbridled Power, so that once again, I'll be able to have some huge Retaliate going into that room. One quick correction, I am actually going to have Katie move here with her 3rd movement. That is because now it is Pinky's turn. Pinky is going to use Magma Scales to grant 2 movement to Nilsa, so Nilsa will occupy that spot. And then I'll go ahead and use the bottom part of Flash of Brilliance to loot this coin out of the trap. And perhaps much more importantly, I get to generate an element, and that element is going to be Frost, so that I can set myself up for next turn. So that will do it for round 7, and we keep moving along. For round 8, plan is pretty straightforward. Pinky will go first using the Gravel Guard Empowering Flame combo, so I'll be able to use that Frost to give 2 Retaliate, plus a shield and some movement to open the door, followed up by Nilsa going on 14, not 7. More Retaliate and extra movement, 3 more movement to get into the room, find a good spot to do a taunt, and take some attacks, and then last but not least, we will have Katie go with 4, potentially 5 movement from her boots to hopefully kind of get in there. By then, Nilsa probably going to be pretty low, so be able to take some attacks. Of course, never know just how many people I'm going to be able to retaliate against. I do not know the layout of the room, but I do know I've got a pretty good amount of movement to get in there and see what happens. So, all that said, we can start things off with Pinky. And one of these days, I will have Pinky actually get some XP, but that is not this day, or at least not this round. I'll consume the Frost, which will move it up to Strong at the end of the turn, and that will give the Retaliate. Oh, I also have movement, so yeah, I might as well get closer to the door so I can be in the action. So I'll use 2 movement first to go there, then consume the Frost. Then I will go ahead and grant 2 movement to the Berserker, who will use that to open the door. So here you can see the situation. Unfortunately, no enemies right in front of me to muddle, but certainly plenty of enemies that Nilsa is going to be able to get within range of. I guess she'll actually only be able to target 2 of them, but we've got a couple of oozes down here, along with the treasure chest, the 2 spirits, 2 drakes, and now, before we finish things out for Pinky's turn, we do need to see what the enemies are going to be doing. Here's a situation, 10, 14, 36. Of course, we're on 10 right now, so hopefully I get to go on 14 before any of the enemies. Let's find out. No, that is bad luck, as the drakes are going to be going first, crowding around on 12. Only a 3 attack, but not optimal. The good news is I do at least have 2 retaliate up. And just looking elsewhere, later on the living spirits are going to be attacking, healing themselves. The oozes are going to be splitting. Probably not going to be anything I can do about that. All right, now just finishing off Pinky's turn, I do get to grant a shield. That will come in handy, and then I will also be able to generate Earth, and that'll do it for Pinky's turn, and unfortunately, now the drakes are up. There's a couple of ways I can position this. I'm not sure it really matters. This guy's going to first, I can have him go here or here. That would kind of determine which pathway will be open. I think I'm better off if he goes up here. So he will move forward, then do a 3 attack against the Berserker, who does have at least 1 shield. So that is going to be a -1. So just 1 damage, which then going to be retaliate 2. And because of that retaliate, that will, of course, trigger that, which means I will heal. It'll happen twice. So all in all, yeah, actually a net gain there. Then the other one is going to move. It'll just move up over here. And it will also attack for 3. Of course, does do a wound, but then the wound is immediately healed. So that is unfortunate. That is quite a bit worse. That is going to be a 6 attack. The shield will reduce it to a 5 attack, so that'll knock me down to 2. Of course, I will then heal back up to 4 after doing the retaliate. Okay, so now I almost again committed another mortal sin against Retalizerkers. I was considering flipping things around. I could attack the Drake, push it into the trap. Then, since I'm out of cards, have to rest anyway, I could take a short rest, gain the full benefits of a long rest. All that said, we are made to retaliate, still have that mastery to work towards, so that is what Nilsa is going to do. Still have some tricks up my sleeve. So first and foremost, I am going to go ahead and use my necklace to heal a little bit. So back up to 5. So now I will start off with Tireless Retribution to give myself 3 retaliate. Then I'll just go ahead. I'm not going to move. Be nice if I could kind of slide around here, but don't have enough movement for that with just 3. So Nilsa will stay where she is. She now has 6 retaliate, and we'll go ahead and have the enemies attack. Order doesn't really matter. I guess we'll start with the top one. And this is going to be a 4 attack. It's unfortunately using their base attack value, not their attack card value. So a 4 attack coming against the 1 shield, and there is one of the curses. That is very good to see. So no damage. I will kill it with Retaliate, and then I'll get to heal too. I'll also gain 2 XP for that, for the Retaliate, and then I'll have the other 1 attack. So this attack going to be +1, so that's a 5. Shield will knock it down to 4, which will knock Nilsa down to 3, and then again, she will heal 2 more, back up to 5. And she has now killed 12 enemies with Retaliate, so well on her way, if not this game, although with, who knows, with all of these oozes splitting, but still need 8 more to complete her mastery of having killed 20 enemies with Retaliate. That is it for her turn. All right, now Katie's up, and if I were standing next to Nilsa, maybe I'd consider flipping things around, doing lay hands, running up and stunning the elite living spirit. But since I can't, I'm just going to keep it more straightforward. I've got a move 4. I will go ahead and use my boots to make that a move 5. So I can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is going to muddle the living spirit. And then, actually, yeah, it doesn't matter if I do it before or after. Still within range, I can go ahead and do a dazzling charge to heal Nilsa for 3 and generate light. Next up are the living spirits who will leech warmth. This one needs to get within range 2 for its attack, so we'll have it move there. That means I'll be able to get Nilsa up to attack it with Retaliate next turn, as I will definitely be having Nilsa now take a short rest. So now incoming going to be a 5 attack against Katie, who hasn't used any of her armor yet. So, not to mention she's warded, she's safeguarded, she's in pretty good situation here. And, alright, so the attack, it's going to be a 6 attack. It is then going to be, I guess the shield has to apply first, so don't have to use the tower shield. Yeah, the tower shield is when I suffer damage I can, but that's when I use it. That's different language from the armor, which says on the next 3 sources. So the armor does apply, reducing it from 6 to 5 with the shield. Then the ward will reduce it from 3, or the safeguard, I should say. No, the ward will reduce it from 3 to 2, and the safeguard will prevent the curse. And then it will heal itself, not that it was wounded, generate frost, which was already generated. And now an attack from the other living spirit. This one will be at disadvantage from the muddle. No reason for it to move in that case. So here comes a 4 attack. Is either going to be a +2 and a muddle or a miss. Yeah, we'll take the miss, so no damage. Finally, and quite unfortunately, the oozes are going to split. They're at full health, so the resulting clones are still going to be pretty strong. But like more enemies for me to kill, more loot to collect. So there are the resulting oozes. I guess on the plus side, even though the elite goes down to 9, the summoned one is a normal, so it's only got 8 health, a little bit smaller. That is going to do it for them. Last but not least, short rest for Nilsa. I would have lost Tireless Retribution, last card I want to lose, so I took a damage, ended up losing this one instead. Round 9, and my goal here is to mainly go fast and furious, as I will be using Retaliate to kill off the elite up here. I could run into the trap, kill them both off, except not, because it's a stun trap, and the timing just doesn't work out in terms of getting enough Retaliate, and also potentially being able to be safeguarded before then. I will be safeguarded after. So perhaps in the future, although I have a feeling the safeguard is going to be protecting me from poison. Meanwhile, for Katie, giving myself advantage in Pierce, put myself in a good position to take out the non-elite, and I'll be doing some healing from Pinky. Now checking in on the enemies, going... Well, Living Spirit does get to go... Well, they're both going to be dead, hopefully, before Pinky goes, barring some very bad luck. And then a Plasma Ward for the oozes who are not moving. So actually, that is a good situation. I think I may be able to avoid getting any attacks. So kicking things off with Nilsa and her usual Tireless Retribution and Unbridled Power combination. so that I can move 1, 2, 3 over here, generate a retaliate, and then 3 more retaliate, and then we will go ahead and taunt that living spirit. So it is going to be a 4 attack, which is going to be -1, so that is a 3. So 3 damage taken, 2 damage healed, not too bad, because first, the 3 damage will knock it down to 4, then it'll trigger the retaliate. 4 retaliate, just going to be enough to take him out. That is 13 out of 20. Also up to 13 XP. Berserker certainly has no problems picking up XP. And now we will move on to Katie. All right, so now Katie's up, and she is going to do a Holy Strike, consuming the light, so that she will be +1 at advantage. So this will be a 4 attack against the normal living spirit, which normally would have 2 shields. The pierce brings it down to 1. It's got 3 health, so all I need is a 0. Drawing 2 cards, so let's see. It is either going to be a 0, which will do the trick, or a +1, even better, but either way, good enough. We have taken out another enemy, and do not have to worry about that. Now, I do have 3 movement, so do want to consider getting some loot. I have a bunch of choices, so kind of decide where I want to go. Do I backtrack? Do I advance? Let me take a moment to think about it. So for what I want to do next turn, I do not want to be too far away from the action, so I'm going to just go ahead and go 1, 2, 3 up to here, claim that loot, and that will be it for her turn. Next up is Pinky, and for the Elementalist, I'm going to be going ahead and doing a heal, so I will move 1, 2 up to here, collect that loot at the end of the turn, but I'll just grab it now, and then I'm going to do, well, that also generate Frost at the end of the turn, so I'm going to do Malleable Evocation using the Frost and the Earth. That is going to allow me to heal an extra target. So obviously I will target these 2, giving them both +2 health as well as Ward and Safeguard. Had big plans for Nilsa next turn, but the ooze is not moving, kind of messes that up, so I'm not going to use my Stamina Potion. I considered doing that. Instead, I am just going to be done for the turn. Now the oozes are up. I wish they were moving forward. Even just 1 space would do the trick, but they're not moving at all. But they're also not affecting anybody, so that is going to do it for this turn. Round 10, and the plan here is actually primarily maybe get a little bit of damage in, but mostly to get ready for next turn. I'm actually going to have everybody go as late as possible, although the oozes tend to go pretty late, so ideally they'll go before me and not do too much damage, but we shall see. Let's find out right now. So you can see, like I said, 54, 72, 78, and for the ooze, they are splitting again. Well, don't have to worry about taking any damage. Yeah, well, this should be interesting in terms of having a lot of enemies on the board. Pinky's up first, and I think, given the situation here, with a lot of these enemies, I do want to deal a bunch of damage before they split, make it that much easier to take them out. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, end up landing on that coin. And then I'm going to go ahead and burn Frigid Torrent to do a 5 attack. Waste of the disarm, but that's fine. Range 4, so I can actually get this guy over here, who's currently at 8 health. So, all right, let's see how that attack goes. And this will be a straight up attack against 1 shield. So it is going to be a +1, so a 6 versus the shield. Not quite enough to take it out before it splits, although I do have a chance to attack it again with another character, but that is going to reduce it down to 3 health. I'll also generate Frost and Wind, gain a couple of XP, and that is going to be it for the Elementalist, who will be probably short resting at the end of the turn. Next up is Katie the Sunkeeper, and I think I, again, want to start working these enemies down, generate some more elements, so I'm going to go ahead just to a generic 2 movement to get next to that ooze, and then I will be able to use Mobilizing Axiom to do a 4 attack, so I'll do that first, then see what element I want to generate. Here we go. This is going to be a 4 attack against the 6 health and 1 shield. It's going to be a +2, which is going to bring it down to 1, which is actually kind of unfortunate that I didn't take it out, because I do need one more kill, and this guy is going to die when he attempts to split. The element, I was considering maybe I could do Earth to potentially get some extra healing in, but I think given what I'm planning on doing, I'm going to be in pretty good shape. Might as well give Katie the potential to get another attack in, so I will generate light. She would also bless herself, except all of the blesses are currently in my decks, so that's that. And now time for Nilsa. For the Berserker, she is going to do a move 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Get her right in the thick of things to potentially do some nice retaliate next turn. And then I am going to finally, for the first time, be able to use Into the Fight to attack a couple of enemies. For the attack, I think let's just try and work some of these enemies down. I mean, if this guy splits, creates another ooze with a value of 1, that's great. That much easier to kill. Another thing I'm thinking about here is, in order to complete this scenario, I just have to open these 2 doors. I don't actually have to kill all the enemies. So I have an opportunity to get more loot XP dealing with these guys, and I don't necessarily have to deal with all the enemies that I'm going to be unleashing. So, that being the case, I will go ahead and do those 2 attacks, range 3, targeting this guy with 6 health and the elite with 9 health. First, the attack against the non-elite is going to be no benefit. I am unfortunately at 8 health, not 7, but it will still be a 2 attack against the 1 shield, so just 1 damage. I then get to pull it, so yeah, we'll drag it up right next to me, and then actually, do I want to actually, yeah, sure, because I'm going to have 4 retaliate next turn. So then I will go ahead and attack the elite. Again, 2 attack versus the 1 shield. There's a curse, so no damage, unfortunate, but I will drag it up over here next to me, which will put me in position to have yet more enemies to attack. Now the oozes are up, and we will do them in order, starting with the elite, which is going to take a couple damage down to 7, and then spawn a friend. Next up is number 8 here, who is going to die, and therefore not split. Then this guy down here, number 9, is going to go down to 1 health, and his replacement is going to appear right over here. And then last but not least, this guy going to go from 5 down to 3, and his split clone will end up over here. Now a short rest for the Elementalist. Unfortunately, I lost Empowering Flame. Not a card I necessarily want to be giving up, but in this instance, I don't want to risk losing my other Retaliate, which is a card I really want to play next turn. So for this round, I will be using Gravel Guard and Magma Spikes, going first at 10 with the Elementalist. That is going to give Nilsa 3 shields, so she's not going to go till 24, but when she retaliates, so yeah, she'll have all that shields. She'll be able to gain health from Retaliate. She will have 4 Retaliate with the 2 she's going to give herself, which is going to be enough to take out at least a couple of the enemies. And since I will be muddling everyone around her, that means that as long as the other enemies are attacking, they're going to take a total of 8 retaliate damage, so I should be able to almost completely clear the board. Meanwhile, I have Sunkeeper going in between that. She'll go on 15 and will probably get an attack off. Everyone's going to have disadvantage anyway, but that could be useful for the guys in the back if they're attacking. Let's see what the slimes are doing. Like I said, I've got Nilsa going on 24 for the oozes, 85, and all right, well, poisoning everyone around them and pushing and then attacking. Well, that's kind of annoying. That does put a crimp on my plans unless I'm able to position such that there's nowhere they can push me, which I might be able to do. So I'll start things off this round with the Elementalist. We'll go ahead and give Nilsa 2 shields and 2 retaliate with Magma Scales. That's going to generate a couple of elements, fire and earth, and these should technically all be down here. But then she'll go ahead and do a Gravel Guard, which will grant Nilsa 2 movement. Nilsa's just going to stay where she is. And, I mean, I guess I could move her up and have her open the door, since she can move back on her turn. That might not be a terrible idea. Let me think about it a sec. I don't think there's any need to rush it. I mean, I'm not too worried about the muddle. But that said, this way I don't necessarily have to use Katie's ability if I want to be able to move her, instead of using her bottom ability to give everyone disadvantage. So yeah, that being the case, I'll just let Nilsa stay where she is, muddle all the enemies around her, and that will generate wind. So that is going to do it for Pinky's turn. Next up is Katie, and she's still got that battle goal to work on, so I'm going to have her go ahead and attack this guy. Although I guess I could move her and attack here, which wouldn't be a terrible thing to do. Try and knock this one down so I could potentially take it out with Retaliate. There will always be an opportunity to take one out later. I think, however, I am going to stay where I am. I'll be able to bring in another enemy to kill with Retaliate. I want to keep Katie a little bit closer to be able to get to that chest. So here comes, I will consume the light. So this is going to be a 4 attack with advantage against this guy. So just need a 0 to take him out through the shields. There we go. Generate light. So that is very nice. We'll get that back. And that is going to eliminate this ooze. And officially all of my characters have completed their battle goals. Now I could just do 2 movement, grab those coins, but I want to kill more oozes. So I'm just going to stay where I am. I will use Engulfing Radiance to give everybody disadvantage. Don't know how much it's going to change, but that will do it for her. Yeah, and I'm realizing now, in retrospect, the 3 shields was overkill. I actually would have been much better off with having the other ability card that I let go for the Elementalist with the Frost and the Retaliate at range 2, which would then let me retaliate against all these enemies, but that's okay. In this case, actually, you know, I was going to stay where I was. I was going to pull this guy up here, but I might be in a better position if I pull enemies towards me, because then I can't be pushed with the attack if I'm down here. It means I'm going to take more attacks, but again, effectively have 4 shields, plus I'm healing, so I'm not going to take any damage. The poison is just going to go away every time I retaliate, which, to be fair, I guess I won't be doing on the subsequent attacks. So I'm just going to kind of calculate it all out and see, because if I'm here, I kind of get pushed back towards this way, don't have to worry about anything. I can use a pull to pull this enemy up to here, killing it with Retaliate, which probably what I want to do, although if I'm down here, yeah, either way, I'm only going to be able to kill 2 of the enemies with Retaliate, so you know what, I'm not going to calculate it all out, I'll just do it. I'm going to go ahead, use my movement here, I then get to do a pull, so I'd rather do more damage to the Elite, so use my pull 1 to pull him in, and now I will go ahead and taunt them all. I will have these 3 attack me. We'll start with the Elite. Again, I'm at 4 Retaliate currently and 3 shields. And for the Elite, it's going to be a 4 attack at disadvantage. So either a +1 or a +1 on curse. So of course we'll take the +1. Right, so the way this is going to work out, it is going to be a 5 attack against the 3 shields. Whenever I take damage, I take 1 less, so it's just going to be 1 damage, and then the ward is actually going to reduce that to 0, so no damage, and then I'll heal 1, up to 9. No, except the Elite Ooze does have poison, so the heal, instead of putting me up to 9, will just get rid of the poison. Then I'll go ahead and have this guy taunt, and that is, again, going to be a disadvantage. This is just a 3 attack, either a -1 or a 0. So just a 2 reduced to 1 by the card I played. So no damage, no poison. I will heal up to 9. And I actually forgot that I did have the safeguard as well, so I would not have taken poison from the Elite. I would have healed the 1 instead. Now we can do the last attack here, which is going to be either a +1 or a ×2. So it is the +1. Again, that is 4 damage against the 3 shields is 1, reduced by the card I played to 0. And I'll heal up to 11, and I will kill this guy as well with Retaliate. So that is 2 more. We've now killed 14 enemies with Retaliate, and unfortunately, because I killed him, I am going to be pushed, so I will not be able to Retaliate kill this guy. That is still 14 of 20 towards the mastery, not to mention 2 more coins looted, which helps for her personal goal. Not a bad day's work. Oozes do get to go now, so we'll do them in order, starting for the Plasma Ward, starting with the Elite, who is going to... Actually, not going to target Nilsa. Unfortunately, is... Oh no, it's going to push all. So, push 1 here, push 1 this way, and they are both going to be poisoned. The Elite is then going to focus on Katie, so this will be a 4 attack. This one will cause poison. Still at disadvantage. All the attacks will be at disadvantage, so either a +1 or a +1, so that is a 5. I do have to use my armor, which will reduce that to a 4, and then we'll let the ward reduce that to 2, down to 14. Next up will be the non-elite, who has nobody to push, but then will attack Katie. This is going to be a 5 attack because of the poison. Still disadvantage, so either a +2 and muddle or a +1 and heal itself. Don't really want to be muddled, so we'll do the +1, let it... Oh, and it's ambiguous, so actually it's ambiguous, so never mind. I actually have to use the first one. So yeah, it is going to be +2, so that is going to be 7. Yikes. Yeah, that'll be the last use of my armor, down to 6. I will use my shield, knocking it down to 4. And then last but not least, this one will be pushed by the Berserker and attacked. So another 4 attack with disadvantage coming in, either a +1 or 0 and a wound. Again, ambiguous. We have to take the first one. That is going to be a 5 versus a 3 shields is 2, reduced to 1. Oh, forgot about the poison. So it's actually a 6. The shields reduce it down to 3. The ability to reduce it down to 2, which is then going to knock Nilsa down to 9. Then she'll heal. She will not heal because she's not retaliating. So yeah, she's just down to 9. For round 12, I'm going to keep it simple. Even though there's 3 enemies on the board, I think I can take out 2 of them with the Elementalist, and then I'm going to let the other 2 characters take a long rest. For the Oozes, they will be going on 59 with a Toxics Explosion, so let's see what we can do before that happens. Can't guarantee I'm going to kill both of these enemies. Well, I can guarantee I'll kill one of them, but at a minimum, if I don't kill the Elite, I can stun it. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to go 1, 2, 3 over here. I get the extra movement, of course. That will, because there are actually 4 elements active, that will generate frost at the end of the turn. Don't have it yet, but I can consume these other 3 elements to give the attack push 3, wound, and poison. And I will target the 2 enemies right next to me. So yeah, I'm at disadvantage on both, but I still think it's worth it. Starting with the non-elite, which again doesn't really matter because it's going to be wounded, so it will die, but we'll go ahead. It is either going to be, well, generating elements could be good, a 0 or a +1. Yeah, so in this case, it is ambiguous, so I would have to go with the first one, which is perfect. I can then generate wind or frost, so already got frost, so I will generate wind, and that is going to do more than enough damage to kill this one. The rest of the conditions don't really matter, so that guy's dead, and then I can go ahead and do my attack against the Elite. So this is going to be a 2 attack, either a 0 generating frost and earth, or a -1. In that case, I do have to go with the -1. So it's just 1 against the shield, which means did not do enough damage to kill it. I dealt 0 damage, but it is wounded, and I do get to push it. So 1, 2, 3, I can push it into the trap, and it is now stunned. It's also poisoned and wounded, and I will grab the loot underneath me, and I will also gain an XP for consuming 2 or more elements. Now the oozes are up. The first one is stunned and wounded, so it'll just take a damage and not attack, going down to 2. Then for this ooze, it is going to target 2 enemies. In this case, I believe everyone's 2 away, so because of the flea bitten shawl, it will not target the elementalist. It will target the other 2 with a 3 attack. That's a bit unfortunate, but what can you do? Here we go. We'll do the attack against Katie first. It's going to be a +1 is 4. The poison is going to make it a 5. So that is 5 damage to Katie. Then comes the attack against Nilsa, and that is going to be 4 damage. For the long rest, both my characters will heal their poison. These are the cards I'm choosing to lose. Just leaving me with the most flexibility of other cards I'm looking at. I don't need that many retaliate cards at this point. Plus, I do want to keep, in case I want to go slow, I need to keep some lower initiatives. So, and then I will get my equipment back because of the Sunkeeper's perk. I will generate light, and that is going to do it. Oh, actually, there's loot under here, so I will be able to collect that as well. And now that is going to do it for the round. Might do things a little differently here in round 13 if I weren't still going for a mastery goal, but I am. I want to try and see if I can potentially kill this guy actually with retaliate by first softening him up with a nice big attack from the Sunkeeper, who should also be able to take out the elite. Then I've got Pinky lined up to do some looting and healing. Should all work out just fine. Let's see when the enemies are going. You can see I am having Nilsa go a little slower on 24 so that Katie can go first. And drawing for the ooze, calculated strike on 66 should not be a problem. Hopefully take them both out before that happens. Gonna have Katie go first, and it's just gonna be a straight up 3 attack. I could have, if I wanted to do an attack that required sun, the only problem with that, to give myself advantage and the XP, it would be slow. I did not want to take a risk of going too slow, so wanted to make sure I could go on 17. So yeah, just doing the straight up 3 attack, and just need to not miss. Against the elite ooze, it is going to be -1, and somebody can recover a card. Too bad that I haven't had the Berserker go yet. It'd be nice to get one of her cards back, but instead, I guess I could have Pinky get a card back. Oh, it's actually you or an adjacent ally. I don't have any cards in my discard pile. I don't know if Daybreak goes to the discard pile before this is resolved. I'm thinking probably not. The other one I'm going to use for the lost ability anyway, so that's lost. It's a -1, but with the poison, this was a 4 attack. Against the shield, it's a 3 attack. Then the shield knocks it down to 2, which is just enough to kill it. I only needed to do 1 anyway, but so much the better. Then I will go ahead and fire off a ranged attack at this guy. So this is going to be a 5 attack, and hopefully not a negative here. +1, which I think is going to be perfect. That's going to be 6 versus a shield. Yeah, that's going to knock it down to 2. That'll also generate light, give me 2 XP, and that's it for Katie. Next up is Nilsa, and I could have her show just how much she needs a heart by stealing this loot from the Elementalist, but I don't think that's necessary. I think what makes more sense is to let more loot come out. I'm actually going to just move 1 up here, and then I can use a pull to pull this guy over here, and then I will go ahead, fire up my retaliate, and then at the end of my turn I will use taunt to have the ooze go ahead and attack Nilsa for the 2 retaliate. So that attack is going to be a base 3, so just 3 damage. Because I am at half health, that'll be reduced, so just 2 damage. Then that'll knock me down to 3. Then I'll heal 1. Then I'll heal another 1. So I remain at 5. More importantly, with 2 retaliate, this guy is dead. I am running low on coins, which is a good thing. It means I don't have to waste time killing a lot of these enemies. As I said, I just need to open up the doors. But with that dead, that is going to do it for Nilsa's turn. Finish off the round for Pinky by first going ahead and looting both of these. That will also let her heal 1 and generate an element, which actually don't think it really matters which element I generate. I'll come back to that, decide in a moment, but she'll also heal 1. Then she will go ahead and consume the wind and the frost. Even though there are no blessings to be put in, can heal both for 2 and give them a ward, plus gain an XP. For the element, it's possible I might want to use Earth next turn, though probably not, but that's what I'll generate. And that is going to do it for the Elementalist turn. That is going to do it for the round. Next round, we'll look to open a door, probably open another door the round after that, and finish things off. Do need to take a short rest for the Elementalist, so randomly lost Malleable Evocation. That's fine. Getting pretty close to finishing things off. For this round, I will be sending Nilsa in to open the door, maybe find some enemies to attack with Retaliate, looking to pick up some loot. I'll probably have Pinky run down and grab the chest, and Katie will be able to go grab that coin. And yeah, we can just get things started with Pinky's turn. We'll start things off with Pinky, who will use Gravel Guard to grant 2 movement and a shield to Nilsa, who will move into the room. That is also going to generate Earth. We'll move that up to Strong, and let's see what's inside. And inside the room, we have found a couple of Drakes. So what are they going to do? Drawing for the Drakes. That is not good. They're going before Nilsa. At least that first attack I don't have to worry about. The second attack is going to be problematic. That is unfortunate. Well, having wreaked that mayhem, Pinky is going to get out of there and move 3. That will also generate frost, and we'll be able to go ahead and loot that chest. Well, inside the chest, we picked up the steel ring, which I have to say would be much more useful in Nilsa's hands right now, but alas. So gain 4 shield when getting attacked. That'd be nice. It's pretty cheap, so I could always sell it and then have Nilsa buy it back. But in the meantime, that is going to do it for Pinky's turn, which means now the Drakes are up with their Rending Claws, or their Swift Claws. The Elite will go first. It'll just move right up, and it is going to go ahead and do a 5 attack. Now, this attack will be at disadvantage, and I have a shield plus another shield from my armor, so not to mention a ward. So it's either, well, no, it's just going to be a straight up attack, not at disadvantage yet because I haven't played my card. So with a 0, that is just going to be a 5 attack. Let's see. The shield I already had will reduce it to 4. Then another shield for my chainmail down to 3. Then the ward will reduce that down to 1. Next attack coming in is going to be a 3 attack. -1 is a 2. Then again, I'll use my armor, and I've already got the 1 shield. So yeah, no damage from that one. That was fortunate. At the start of Nilsa's turn, she will drop to 5. Now, I am going to throw up my Retaliate. I'm going to stay where I am and gain 1 Retaliate. Gain another 3 Retaliate. Enemy attacks will be at disadvantage. In this situation, I've got the 4 Retaliate. If one of these enemies manages to kill me, I'll get to fight back for 2. So really the question here is, which attack do I want to take first? I've got 2 shields still. I've got 1 more use of my armor. So I think if I first go ahead and use my Amulet of Life, that'll heal me back up to 6. Then I can go ahead and have the Elite attack first. And with a little bit of luck, this will reduce me down, but not kill me. Then I can get killed by the other one and get an extra attack in from my perk that I've not yet used. But here's the attack at disadvantage. So either a +2 or a miss. Well, if it's a +2, let's see. That would be 8. Shields reduced down to 6. Yeah, that would kill me. So it doesn't look like this is going to work out as I had hoped. I am going to just take no damage from that, and it's actually going to heal me. 2 more points, so I'm up to 8. I'm trying to take damage here. It's not working. All right, so now the other Drake is going to attack. This will be a 4 attack, is its normal base, and either a +1 and heal itself, or a +3. So again, that's ambiguous. I got to take the first one. So fortunately, with the heal, it hasn't taken the retaliate damage yet. So I don't believe that heal is going to go off. I think the order of things that would happen before the retaliate. So in that case, it is going to be a 5 attack. I've got my 2 shields. So nope, I already used my armor 3 times. So it's actually just 1 shield. Going to be 4 damage. Going to knock me down to 4. Then I'll heal twice back up to 6 when I retaliate. Well, that will knock it down to 3. That'll give me 2 more XP up to 15. That's going to do it for Nilsa's turn. We'll finish things off with Katie, who's first going to do Engulfing Radiance. Get some more XP, heal everybody for 5. And hey, for the first time, I've healed somebody over their max. Not the target I would have wanted. It's Pinky, so the Elementalist will also be warded as a result of that. Then I will go ahead and use movement, consuming the light, which I'm just going to regenerate. And that gives me a bunch of movement. So I've got 5 movement here. Doesn't really matter which one I go towards. I guess keep myself within range of helping people out. We will go here, loot that one. That is going to do it. For her turn, she'll gain 1 more XP. Nilsa will finish off the round with a short rest, randomly losing that card. Round 15, my plan is to have Nilsa just take care of both of these guys with Retaliate. Well, she'll be able to kill one right away. The other one will have to attack her. Hopefully 7 is going fast enough. Then Katie will be just giving people movement, gaining some XP. And finally, we'll have the Elementalist also come up and try and grab some loot, and then probably open the door to end things next round. The game does, this scenario does end at the end of the round when you've opened all doors. Just 1 door left, 2 ways to open it, so we're very close to there. Now checking in on the Drakes. They are going to be going 72, attacking Alot, but not really. Though this is, wow, that could be a lot of retaliate damage if I could withstand a lot of strikes, but again, don't need to, should just need to take 1 attack, that'll be enough. You might be getting tired of this combo, but Nilsa is in Tireless Retribution and Unbridled Power once again. And once again, we'll just stay where I am. Have put up 4 Retaliate, which is more than I need. But why not? It's more about gaining the XP. I will then go ahead and taunt, have both enemies attack. This time we'll start with the big guy, who is going to attack for 6. And that is going to be poison as well. So no shields or anything. So 6 damage and poison, but hey, that's going to get healed right away. That'll knock me down to 5. Heal the poison, and then heal again up to 6. Then the attack from the other one, which is going to be a 4, a +1. So that is 5, which will bring me down to 1. And then heal twice up to 3. That will give me 2 more XP and also put me oh so close to my mastery. I've now done it 17 times. Actually, correction, now done it 16 times, but very close to doing it 17. That will happen very soon. Next up is Katie, who's going to use Dazzling Charge to heal Nilsa for 3, generating light again, and then we'll go ahead and grant everybody, including herself, 4 movement. For the movement, we will go 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I think we'll just circle around 1, 2, 3 over here, just getting a little bit closer to the other loot. And then for Katie, she is just going to slide over to here so that she can end her turn, grab that loot. Of course, she'll also gain a couple of XP. Next up, Pinky, trying to get as much loot as possible. We'll go 1, 2, 3 movement to grab that, and then can use Flash of Brilliance on Nilsa to let Nilsa get a card back. Which, only one choice, since it has to be level 1, Unbridled Power. So now the Drake is going to attack. It's going to be a 5 attack and a +1 and a curse. So, alright, so that would actually reduce Nilsa down to 0, which, not a problem. She'd then bump back up to 1 from her ability. She would then have to attack back, and that all happens, I'm pretty sure, before the Retaliate. Do not want that to happen, so I'm just going to lose a card to prevent the damage, and yeah, then I'll go ahead and heal twice. 4 more Retaliation will take him out. No loot left, so that is going to do it for the Rending Drake, and now pretty close to finish things off. Just need 1 more round. Last thing, I am going to have a couple characters short rest, so there are the cards they lost. So going into round 16, I realized I can't just end the game by opening a door to this room. I actually have to open all 3 doors, so it is going to take 3 more rounds. That'll give me a chance to pick up the coins, maybe get a little bit more XP. So Nilsa's going to go first. Just going to use 2 movement to go up here and loot that coin, and that'll be her turn. Pinky will be next on 27, and I've got my elements correct now, as I will move 3, 1, 2, 3, be able to loot that, also generating frost, and then I will grant 2 movement, get Nilsa a little bit closer to the door here. That will generate that, and that is going to be it for Pinky. And finally for this round, since I can only open 1 door a round, I will open this one going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That will also get me a couple of XP. Then I do need to take a couple of rests in both cases. I took a damage to choose a different card, so these are the cards I lost. Now we can move on to round 17. This time, Pinky will start off with, once again, using Gravel Guard to allow 2 movement to Nilsa to open this door, give a shield. Bottom ability, just going to generate an element. Doesn't really matter what. We'll generate fire just because. And then we can see what's inside the room. Well, I was hoping that there might be a living spirit in here. More stuff I could kill with Retaliate. May not be the case. It is instead oozes. At least we know they're probably going to go slow. Let's see when. And though I haven't shown you the cards yet, I do have Nilsa going on 14 with her usual combo. So here we go for the oozes. Hey, they're splitting. That's not bad. Could potentially maybe take some stuff out, depending on how much damage I can deal. Let's find out. Nilsa's next. I think the best I can do is probably just with 3 movement, go 1, 2, 3. I do need to put myself in position to open that door next round. So I will move there, generate 4 Retaliate, and then, sure, why not? Might as well go ahead and taunt, have the Elite attack me. It's going to be a 4 attack, do have 1 shield that I was granted, and it'll be at disadvantage. Sorry, 3 attack against the 1 shield. So either a 0 or a +1, so that is going to be, it would be 3 damage. Shield reduces it to 2, and then I will heal back up to 2 more XP, and I realize since I have light out there, I actually can go ahead and heal. I can add the extra target even though I have no one to target. I'm pretty sure I can do that, so I'll consume the light, and I can get that coin next turn, so that will be it for Katie, who will heal herself, and then just the oozes, who are all going to deal 2 damage themselves and split. So there are all the oozes, and just 1 more round to go. All I need to do is open the door. I don't think I'm going to be able to kill any of them, but that's okay. I'm certainly going to get plenty of XP. Do need to take a couple of short rests. As for Pinky, going to be taking a long rest this round as they only have 2 cards in the discard pile. Round 18, here's my plan. Have the Berserker go very fast, and depending on what the enemies are doing, maybe I can kill some of them. All right, here we go. Drawing for the oozes. They are going on... Yeah, that... Very annoying when they push people away, because that prevents me from retaliating. So that being the case, probably just going to get out of there. Would have been nice if I could have worked the mastery a little bit more, but it's a lot of damage, a lot of poison. So instead, I'm just going to use 2 movement to open the last door, triggering the end of the scenario, and then might as well play the other card to give myself 2 more XP, and none of the other effects really matter. Knock me down to half health, I'm there already. Katie's standpoint, I will just loot the last coin on the board, and that is going to do it for her turn. The oozes are not moving, attacking only at range 2, safely out of range there, so don't have to deal with any of those attacks. And then, last but not least, Pinky will do their long rest, and that is going to be the end of the scenario. Okay, so now that we've helped clear the way, freed the voice, not completely yet, it just disintegrated everything else in the room. All the slime's gone, and that's a little frightening how much power it has, but it's still not free yet. It wants help. It's sending us to another area. We have a couple choices. We can get the vessel it needs to escape this plane. It assures us it means no harm, and maybe not to this plane, but it's probably imprisoned for a reason. But, well, that could be somebody else's problem. The alternative is we can try and find out more about it. So, a couple of different scenarios unlocked, and I'm going to have to take a closer look because I came here for the acoustics, working towards the puzzle book, and maybe I missed something. I'm going to take a closer look, or maybe I have to continue down the storyline. But either way, that is the end of scenario, so let's just take a quick look at where everybody ended up. Alright, there was a lot of advancement going on here. Katie picked up 26 XP, 10 for the scenario, 16 through card play, as well as 18 gold. So she's up to 210 XP, exactly enough to gain a level, as well as now up to 28 gold. She got 2 check marks for her battle goal, which means she's now going to get a perk from those check marks, plus another perk from the level up to level 5. Pinky, the Savas Elementalist, gained not as much, just 17 XP, but did pick up 11 coins for a whopping 33 gold, checkmark for the battle goal, and did complete the mastery of now 3 times having all elements generated, so that's taken care of, so I will get another perk from that, and I'm now 3 of 10 on personal goals, which is just to have a road event. Finally, Nilsa Needheart picked up 31 XP, 21 from card play, which is pretty crazy, as well as 8 gold tokens, so 24 gold. She did reach a level up. She completed her battle goal for another check mark. Did not quite complete the mastery. Need 3 more kills there. So, but looting 8 coins. Now 16 out of 60 for her personal goal, so moving quite along there, and she will get from the level up another perk and another card. So there you have it, another scenario complete. All is right in the world again. I am recording Gloomhaven videos after a long absence. My beloved New York Knicks have finally won a championship in my lifetime. Thank you, little Jalen, for being my totem. The adventure rolls on, as I'll have to decide where I want to go next. Do I want to continue the voice storyline? I'm not even sure which direction I want to go on this. Do I want to go back into the main storyline? Open to ideas, if there's a particular direction you want to see me go. Otherwise, give me a like if you got this far. Subscribe if you haven't already. Let other people know about it. All that good stuff. But otherwise, as always, until next time, and thanks for watching.